Hi, this is Jason from Horrific Nightmares, back to do another tag video. This is the Horror Collector's Tag. This is done by my friend Andrew Ballina. If for some reason you haven't heard of Andrew or are not subscribed, I don't know how you couldn't be, but definitely subscribe to his channel. He does all kinds of cool stuff. A lot of the movies that I have now, I've gotten from listening to him comment on. As a matter of fact, one of the things I used to be big into doing when I first got into YouTube years ago was to always want to watch something new and fun and something that people don't talk about or, isn't one of the mainstream type movies. So what I used to do was I used to look for underrated slasher films, ones that people don't talk about a lot or not many people have in their collection. So that's kind of how I first discovered his channel a long time ago, and he just has an awesome channel. And I was really excited to do this one. So let's get into it. Question number one is, how long have you been collecting? I've been collecting horror movies probably for maybe 30 years. Unfortunately, the format, and this will go along with one of the other questions, but one of the formats, you'll probably hear beeping outside, that's the garbage man, but one of the formats, of course, I used to collect and had a huge collection of was VHS back in the day. I had gotten rid of all of my VHS movies because I'm an idiot and had no idea that they were going to come back into style. I had also made a deal with the guy who bought them that I was supposed to pick out some of the movies that have not seen a DVD release, and he was going to burn them on a DVR for me and send it, and he never did. But, I'll get to the other formats, of course, later on in the questionnaire. But seriously collecting, I've been collecting for about 30 years. I've been seriously collecting now for probably the last 4 or 5. And when I mean serious collecting, that means like multiple copies of certain movies and stuff like that, because you guys are an incredibly bad influence on me. Anyway, question number 2. How many horror movies do you own? To be honest with you, I cannot venture to guess. I'm going to say a few thousand, roughly. Could be a little more, could be a little less. Not really sure. I do own quite a bit. But that's where the serious collector kind of got into me a while back. Do you collect merchandise? If so, what? I do have some figures, not many. I have, of course, the piece that I made that I showed in one of my older videos. It was a Friday the 13th Jason bust from part 6. But, I'm starting to get posters now. I'm trying to create a room because all my stuff is kind of downstairs in disarray. That's why whenever I do my top 20 or top 30 or whatever films that I decide to do, it normally takes me a while because I'm down there for hours sifting through stuff to pull movies out. But that's just because I love you guys and I really enjoy doing what I'm doing. But I have a lot of horror movies and not much merchandise, but I'm working on it so that I can... I have a room upstairs that I'm going to redo. It was my daughter's old room, and I'm going to make that into the horror movie room and where I film and everything like that. I'm working on it. It's taking a while, but I'm working on it. That was actually question number 4. So I'm going to go back to question number 3 because I wrote them down in the wrong order. Sorry about that, Andrew. I'm kind of... Today's a little scattered for me. Favorite label or company to collect? I have a few. My favorite is probably Scream Factory and Severin. Some of the companies that I think are the best are probably Arrow, Indicator, I really like what they're doing. I like 88 Films. I own some Arrow. Vinegar Syndrome's another one. But my favorites are really Scream Factory and Severin. Those I probably own the most of. And I love the old Anchor Bay stuff. Um, do you own multiple editions of one movie? If so, how many? I'm going to say probably the most I own are probably 3 or 4 of the same title. I don't have like anything. I probably did at one time, but if you guys watch my channel, you notice I give a lot of stuff away. I like to. How do I put this? Um, I don't know. If somebody doesn't have it in their collection and I have an extra copy, it doesn't bother me to go ahead and send it to them. Mainly because I want them to enjoy it as much as I do. And it kind of goes back to my grandmother, something she said a long time ago when I was little that kind of stuck with me all these years. She always used to say, if I have a dollar, you have a dollar. And that always resonated with me. I don't know. I idolized my grandmother. She was an amazing person. So I try to make her proud of me. So anyway, kind of getting off question there. But probably as many editions as I own. I own like 3 or 4 copies of Children of the Corn. I think I owned a couple Anchor Bay and a couple multi-packs. Of course, Friday the 13th and Halloween are some of the ones that I own most of the multiple copies of. I think I have Halloween 2, 3 or 4 times, maybe 3. Halloween, the original, twice. Um, yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I am pretty much with that. What formats do you collect? Primarily, I was DVD and Blu-ray, but because of you guys and your bad influence, kidding, I've gotten into VHS a lot, and it's just been a lot of fun. You know, sometimes you can only find things on VHS, so that pretty much made my decision for me. But yeah. What movie or piece of merchandise do you want? Do you most want in your collection? Um, hmm. I like a lot of the NECA figures, and my favorite Friday the 13th is probably, or not probably, it is Friday the 13th Part 2. So eventually I would like to get one of those Baghead Jason figures, or I think they have them with real clothes on too. I know they're a little expensive. I tend to spend most of my money on movies rather than merchandise. Um, so that's kind of where I am. Let's see. Question number 8. What's one item in your collection that you haven't seen many people show? Well, there's a couple things I can name. One, of course, is my Friday the 13th Part 6 bust, which, like I said, I've already made a video for it. That's because I made it. It's one of a kind, so, I mean. And the other thing, I will plug my good friend Dave Maggott's movie Groundhog. Um, I don't think many people have it. It's starting to catch on. I would really like to see it catch on more because it's a very good film. I actually just gave it away. So if you can, go out and search out Dave Maggott or Dave McDonough and buy Groundhog. It's really good. Um, support our local YouTubers, guys who make movies. That's what we need to do as a community. Yeah, I'll step down off my soapbox now. Let's see. Question number 9. If you could have, if you could choose a movie, man, my handwriting is so bad, guys. If you could choose a movie that hasn't been released on Blu-ray for your collection, what would it be? A couple of them I would say are Alone in the Dark. I love that movie. I know I talk about it a lot, but I do love it. It's one of my favorite slashers. Superstition. Love that movie as well. That hasn't had a Blu-ray release that I'm aware of. Mausoleum. That's another one. I really like that movie. Um, yeah, I think that'll pretty much do it. I love 80s horror movies, so anything that doesn't have a Blu-ray release in the 80s, I'm pretty much game for it. So, and the last question, question number 10. How far do you see your collection growing, or are you happy with where it's at? I am grateful for what I have. Of course, there's movies that I like that I don't have, um, but it's a waiting game. It's a time play. I'll get them eventually if I find them for cheap. I like to. I'm a lot like my friend Eric, Last Venom 76. I like to buy movies um, with deals. If I could find it for $1 or $2 when somebody else is paying 18 or 20, that makes me happy. Not so much that the other person paid 18 or 20, but the fact that I got a good deal on it. Yeah, he and I are very much alike in that way. That's why I go to a lot of thrift stores, so on and so forth. But yeah, um, there's a couple people I'm going to tag because I think almost everyone else has been tagged. Or a few people. I'm going to tag Movie Massacre, although he doesn't have to do it because he's having some Wi-Fi issues. I'm going to tag Bronco Juggalo, Talks Movies, and I'm going to tag the Horror Man because the Horror Man is perfect for this tag. Um, he is a collector so many tiers above me. Um, I would love to know what his how many copies of one movie he owns. So definitely tag the Horror Man. I mean, if he wants to do it, I know mostly everybody's busy, but those are the three people I'm going to tag. Um, yeah. And if you like what you see in here, hit that like button and subscribe. And until next time, peace.